It's Wednesday. Good morning, Facebook. Good to see you. Jump on in. It is a beautiful day, middle of summer. What is not to love? I'm telling you, I'm just a summer girl. I just am a summer girl. So tell me where you're coming in from. And if you're on the replay, especially tell me where you're coming in from, because I do like to hear, like, seriously, you guys all over. Like, there's somebody from Greece that'll jump on my Facebook business page. I'm connecting her to a friend of mine who is going to Greece, and I'm like, this is amazing. Do you realize, it's a little side note, do you realize that it hasn't even been 10 years since we've had, I think it's been 8 years since we've had live video. I think it's been 8 years. Doesn't it feel like it has been forever? 8 years, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And it started with Periscope. Does anybody remember Periscope? I remember Periscope. And then Facebook Live came along and they went bam, 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 bam. You will not exist. And that's what they did. They absolutely crushed it into the ground. Periscope was owned by Twitter, and you could go live anywhere in the world. And there was a map of the globe, and you could see like locations kind of light up. And that meant somebody was on live right then. And you could jump into their house, whatever place that they were in. And it was just, I remember like going, oh, this is going to be big. I just remember talking to my friend like, oh my gosh, don't you see what's happening? This is crazy. And then of course, Facebook Live started, and history, because now we do this all the time. So if you guys don't know who I am, my name is Kirsten Liebelt. And basically, you know what? I turned around my own insulin resistance in my 20s. Sorry, in my 40s. But my insulin resistance actually started in my 20s. So I was gestational diabetic with my first baby, and I was hypoglycemic with my second baby. And I did not know the terminology insulin resistance. So I talk about it all the time. And today I'm wearing red for a reason. You want to know why I'm wearing red? Because I'm fired up, man. I'm fired up. I got up this morning, and I wasn't really sure what we were going to chat about today. And I saw a post, and I ended up reposting it. And it literally is the rise of diabetes in the United States of America. And I'm going to start out with this. So, my dad, he died of type 2 when he was 63, and I was only 30 at the time. But my whole life was surrounded by obesity and type 2 diabetes. That was normal. Raised in an Italian family. And so I was told it was genetic, and that there really wasn't much that you could do about it. And very, 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 very unfortunately, I think that a lot of us still believe the same thing. It's a part of the reason why I come on and I do stuff online, because it's criminal that they still make us think that that is true and that they don't give us any real answers. And how do we know that they don't give us actually, like, literally any real answers? They actually don't even give us, I'm going to be super dramatic right now. Good morning, Kristen. Good to see you. It's 117 in Phoenix. That's really warm. I'm sorry. That's probably why I live in Minnesota in the summers, but I would like to be in Phoenix in January. So we'll swap. That's really warm. Yikes. Very hot. But basically, they almost completely give us no answers or no help. And yet we spend a lot of money dealing with the side effects of the help that they didn't give us. I'm super fired up. I'm red today. Good to see you. I know. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's so hot over there. Okay. And I'm going to tell you why. I mean, we have stats. You don't have to take my word for it. We've got stats. And so last night I got to, we did a product expo here in Minneapolis. And from Minnesota. Hey, Andrea and Cheryl. Good to see you. Good morning. And I wish y'all could have come. I really do. I wish that I had. I mean, I love you guys being all over the United States and Canada. I really do. I love it. And other countries too. But for those of you, because I can't sell outside of the United States and Canada. So, or I can do the Dominican Republic. But I'm just saying, anyway, blah, blah, blah. You guys give me all of your testimonies. You give me your data. You give me your sugars going down. You give me your weight loss numbers. You give me all of your stuff. And so last night I was able to actually share for a little while at the expo about the trio, the 3 supplements that have the 3 ingredients to help with insulin sensitivity. And I was able to give your stories, just a few of them, not very many, but I was able to give a few. And so first of all, I want to thank you for sharing your stories with me, telling me what's going on, keeping me updated in your circle about when you get off of a med, when your BP goes down, when you are all of a sudden like able to resist donuts, when you're losing pounds. It's so exciting because I really do. And I've said this before, and I just said it in my stories, so I might as well say it again. I know it sounds really crass, but it fires me up because I feel like we're just giving the finger to the matrix. And no, I'm not a driver that would give somebody the finger. I'm not actually at all. But I just feel like, it just torques me off that they literally don't give us any answers. And yet these stats that I'm going to read to you are true. Man, I'm telling you what. So if you can get a vision, if you can get a visual for yourself of, yeah, I'm not going to take it anymore either. If you can get a little bit of that going, you can go somewhere. My dad was given no answers. None. Like he even said, this was towards the end, it was too late, but he was on dialysis for 2 years at the end. And he changed the way that he ate. It was too late for him, but it's okay. So he goes into diet. He changed the way he ate and his blood pressure came down. Shocker. And he went into his dialysis appointment where, they're checking his vitals every time. And he said, Kristen, you're amazing, by the way. Thank you, Kristen. So many hearts. He goes into his appointment and he goes, what if I told you that I stopped taking my BP med? And they were like, oh, you can't do that. Don't do that. And he goes, well, what's my blood pressure? And they told him, and he goes, yeah. And they were just like, no, you can't do that. Good morning. Happy Wednesday, Magda. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good morning. One Diamond Star. Good morning. Good morning. I'm missing people. Colorado, Brenda. Good to see you. Canada. Good to see you. Very, very good. Okay. This is so fun. You guys are all on. It's the party can start right now. So, he was just given no answers. And the Dietetic Association told him to eat things like, Cheerios and skim milk, which skyrocket your sugars, all of the grains and all of the skim milk and all of the things. They don't care the number. They want people to keep filling that script. I'm telling you what, this is it's criminal, you guys. The word is criminal. So we have to stand up and say no more. Now, I didn't know what supplementation. I didn't know what this was going to do for me. I didn't know the trio. I just did it to pacify my mom. But do you know that I'm the only one in my family that avoided type 2? The only one. Even my Swedish mother in her elderly years ended up with type 2 and then type 3 dementia. I'm just saying. So they're not going to tell you that you could fill in some nutritional deficiencies and change the way you eat and fix things, but I will. And I will never make claims, but I'll share the testimonies. And at the top of my IG page, go over to Instagram, TikTok. At the top, there's a pink highlight bubble with all the testimonies from like January. That's pretty much where those are from. Only so far. Amazing, you guys. Get encouragement from each other. And then the Facebook group is called Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. I don't want to forget to say that. Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. Jump in. Today is day 3 of the 5-day challenge. It's our 14th challenge, and I'm taking you into my pantry and my refrigerator. Okay, so these are the things that I wanted to share with you. If you saw my post, I'm going to pull up here on my Facebook and see if I can see my own post. So this is what fired me up this morning was somebody on Instagram had posted these stats, and then I'm going to expand on them just a little bit. A lot of messages up. Too many messages. Okay, so these were the slides that I shared. In 1960, 1 out of 100 was diabetic. I was born in 65. You guys are probably all similar to me. Why do you get put on insulin if it's bad? That's such an amazing question. I was talking about that with somebody last night. Because you're making too much insulin, 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 until you're not. And in my layman, non-doctor conversation, your pancreas wears out and it stops producing insulin. Insulin is a hormone. And so now you have to inject. And my dad was insulin dependent. It's a great question. And can you imagine the level of inflammation going into your body through injection then? Is that better or worse than the actual hormone being high all the time? I'm going to say it's probably worse. So in 1960, 1 person out of 100 was diabetic. By 1995, 1 out of 50. In 2015, 1 out of 8. By 2050, they predict that 1 out of 3 will be diabetic. So that's what got me fired up this morning, because all they've done is given us a track to run on that promises us scripts, sickness, obesity, low function of life, and potentially, like my father, 63, early death. Cheryl, last night you attended a webinar. Oh, he shared what you shared yesterday regarding insulin resistance, but to the millionth power. He scared the heck out of me. He has type 1. I don't think I agree with the saturated fat conversation at all. At all. I understand that people, I'm way over on the other side with Dr. Ken Berry, Dr. Eric Berg, Dr. Kiltz, who's a surgeon for fertility, who's carnivore. I'm on the other side. And I know, so I can see he's type 1, which is different. But I don't agree with the saturated fat part of it. But we should be scared. So can you come off? Yes. Yes. Not because I say you can, because I'm not your doctor, but because I have testimonies of people turning things around. If prescription insulin helped, do you think patients wouldn't move on to dialysis? Well, that was my revelation when my father died and he had all of these medications. Why didn't they heal him? Why didn't they turn anything around? Why didn't he get better? No, that wasn't the design at all. None of it. No design. The design was to keep you dependent and to never, ever, 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 if they are able to give you a valid, tangible, moving forward answer. And I know I'm being blanketed and I know I'm being general, and I know that not all matrix people don't give answers. I'm just talking about the ones that are affecting the people who are in my inbox and my dad. So yeah, that just came to you. Yeah. Well, it's a good question, right? No. Jay, no, I don't actually. I've heard of that. I think that's a fiber conversation or something. And that's not, no, but I do. That is so true. Yeah, I know it's crazy. But I do talk about a suite of 3 supplements that I started with over 10 years ago. And I call them the trio. And they are 3 supplements that have 3 ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity. And those are the ones where if you go onto my IG page, you'll see at the top a pink highlight bubble, you'll see all the testimonies. And that's just, it makes me so happy, because filling in nutritional deficiencies and getting your body to function at a higher level from the inside out, man, it's kept me from type 2, and a lot of other people are on their own, because I mean, you have to assess yourself. You have to be a good assessor of yourself. Getting off of meds and losing weight. because we don't know that insulin is a hormone. So in the 1960s, diabetes affected 1% of the US population. Okay, so 1%. That's very, very low. Good morning, movie mama. Good morning. How are you? It's good to see you. Good to see you. So in the early 1960s, it affected 1% of the population. 1980s, by the 1980s, the prevalence had increased to about 2.5% of the population. Thank you for the likes. I appreciate you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys like bump me up so fast. You're so nice. By the early 1980s, the prevalence had increased, excuse me, to about 2.5%. 1990s, now we're going up to 4.9%. And remember yesterday we were talking about, hi, Lori, good to see you. We were talking about Crisco. Oh no, maybe that was in the Facebook group. I probably did hear. You loved my video on constipation and insulin resistance. I told you I would commit myself to doing a reel on that. So yesterday we talked about insulin resistance causing constipation. It's a real deal, man. So anyway, we're bumping it up to 4.9% in the 1990s. When you hit the 2000s, diabetes prevalence reached approximately 6.2. So we're going in the wrong direction. They gave us a food pyramid. They gave us scripts. They gave us an association, a diabetic, nutrition association. They told us what to eat. They told us how many carbs we could eat each day. 4.9 up to 6.2. In 2010, it was 9.4. In the 2020s, it was 11.3. I wonder if their information is faulty. Just wonder. I wonder if what they're telling us is wrong. Wrong. Like completely wrong. So can you turn it around? Yes. That's what everybody needs to know, actually. This is not a terminal diagnosis. You do not have to have a team of specialists like some people do if they have a terminal diagnosis, right? If there's something terminal, you have to have a team of specialists help you navigate that. That's not this. So can it be turned around? Yes. Do it as fast as you can. As fast as you can. So I teach 2 things and 2 things only: targeted supplementation and food ingredient trade-outs. That's where the Facebook group comes in. Ditch insulin resistance for women. Yesterday I did ingredient trade-outs, and I talked about how I, as an Italian girl, had to change the way that my pantry and my fridge looked, because it's completely different now. But I didn't give up the things that I loved. I thought I had to, but I didn't. And so then today, now in the group, I'll go into my pantry and my refrigerator, and I apologize ahead of time. I'm so boring right now. I'm not even stocked with really fun stuff. But anyway, it's just what it is. We've been busy. And so, but the truth is that I didn't even pick up my eggs. Shoot. I'm picking up 10 dozen eggs tonight. I have a local farming lady, and I eat eggs every single day. Anyway, and I'm picking up 10 dozen today. So I have to go get those. I won't be able to get them before my pantry thing though. But my point being that they don't tell us that eating the foods, they don't tell us that you can trade out your ingredients, still love your food, and completely stabilize your blood sugars at the same time. They don't tell us that because they don't want us to know that. So instead, my dad, he always had Cheerios, Rice Krispies, Corn Flakes, everything that had a crop attached to it from the USDA, Department of Agriculture, who gave us the food pyramid. Does that make a connection, right? He would eat everything that was grain for breakfast, and then he would put like sweet and low on it, saccharin. And then he would drink skim milk, and they all spiked his sugars to the moon. And he just did this literally every day. Like, that's my memory of my dad. And then you're supposed to eat a lot of fruit, right? Because fruit is good for you, right? So he would eat bananas and oranges all day long. No, really bad advice for a type 2 person. Really bad advice. You ate all of that. Yep. So, I mean, it took me a couple of years, right? Took me a little time to trade out my foods, but now I'm grain free and I'm sugar free, and that's what I get to teach. But I get to teach it in the context of I get to eat the foods that I love. So yesterday, what I was explaining on my and maybe I explained it here too. I lose track of who I'm talking to. There, like if you had two trays in front of you, and one tray had all of these pantry ingredients, and one tray had all of these pantry ingredients, they make the same food. You're just using different ingredients. So instead of using Crisco and white flour and white sugar and everything that's grain and seed oil, you just shove that to the side and you switch out and you start using like coconut oil, olive oil, avocado oil, butter, lard, ghee. You go back to your animal products. You go back to your let's go back to before the Industrial Revolution, where they just decided that they were going to push crops on us and tell us to eat 9 to 11 servings of grain every day. And now that's exactly what we do. Like we probably overdo that because we start in the morning with our cereal and then we just keep on going. And we don't even think about the fact that over time, the overconsumption of carbohydrates leaves us with insulin resistance. And when you're insulin resistant and your cell says no more because it's too much, it closes the door. And that's when then as you keep, if you're insulin resistant, you probably are because you're on my content, right? So we're probably like in the same boat, right? And if you keep on spiking your sugars all the time, so I don't want to give you a fish. I want to teach you how to fish. I want to give you a different track to run on. They gave you a track to run on. Their track was, here's the food pyramid. If that doesn't work for you, just come on back because we've got scripts for you. And we have a meal plan for you. So they have a food pyramid with meal plans and scripts waiting for you when it doesn't work. That's their track that they have, that you can everybody can get on it. Most people are. You can get on it, but you're not only going to get on MET. It's not going to be that. You're going to be on 3 or 4 because they're all going to go together. So it's going to be MET. It's going to be an H. I have to be careful with how I say things. An HB med, HBP med, balloons on Instagram. It's going to be an STATIN because they've lied to you about cholesterol. So they're going to tell you to get it down. But then when you get it down, girls, listen to me. When you get it down with an STATIN, because they told you had to do that because cholesterol was bad for you. If it's bad for you, why does your liver make it? Okay. Now you're going to be on an anti-sadness med. This is just normal. And then they're going to tell you, haven't you heard? If you're in your 50s, it's normal for you to be on 3 scripts. I reject that. I think about this all the time, you guys. I do, because this is my own family. So my mom, 100% Swedish. Her mom, I think I brought this up yesterday, grew up on a farm. Like they milked cows. They had kittens in the barn with the hay. And my mom would tell us all the stories about growing up on this little farm outside of Minneapolis, out in the country. And they, think about farming life before the crop revolution of literally what we've done to our crops and what, how we then turn those into the main course of our eating, et cetera. And this whole grain thought process, which is completely ruined anyway. That's only one piece of the puzzle because we did it, whatever. We ruined it. But it was never meant to be the staple of the staple of the staple. Do you really think that you are running a farm and doing all of that hard labor and all you're eating are cornflakes? I mean, you just have to think this through to the end of the conversation for a half a minute. No, they were eating beef and cream and butter. They gave the skim milk to the pigs My mom used to tell me that all the time. The skim milk was of no nutrition. They gave it to the pigs. But don't you understand how marketing works? We're marketed to so that we think that what they have is good. That's the whole point. So somehow, well, I do know how. I don't have to go down that road though, but they told us that low fat was important. It was a lie, you guys. It was a lie. There were two different scientists. One was Dr. Ansel Keys out of the University of Minnesota. This is why I know this. And there was another doctor out of Britain. And at the time, they each had a theory. They had a paper and a theory. Dr. Ansel Keys said that fat was bad. And the British doctor said that sugar was bad. Which one won out in the United States? And we literally adopted that entire thought process. And so all the fat came out of our food and all the sugar went into our food to make up for the lack of flavor. And here we are. Let's see. What was that again? In the 1960s, 1% of the America was diabetic. 1980s, 2.5. 1990s, 4.9. 2000s, where'd it go? 6.2. 2010, 9.4. 2020, 11.3. Complications. Diabetes is a leading cause. Diabetes is the leading cause. Type 2 is the leading cause. Type 2, leading cause of heart disease, not animal fat. Type 2. And when you eat animal fat, if you go carnivore, I'm not carnivore. If you go carnivore, you stop spiking your blood sugars, period, the end. That's why Dr. Kiltz, a fertility doctor out of New York, uses it to help women get pregnant. Because it balances your hormones. We've been so lied to, you guys. So leading causes of heart disease, stroke, kidney failure, lower limb amputation, and adult onset blindness. Diabetes is the seventh leading cause of death in the United States. The total estimated cost of diagnosed diabetes in 2017 was $327 billion, including $237 billion in direct medical costs and $90 billion in reduced productivity. So two things that I'm going to pull out of that information. Number one, and I mentioned this the other day, my memory of my Italian grandpa who immigrated from Italy, came over here, ended up type 2. I can guarantee you in the prison camp that he was in during World War I, he wasn't diabetic then. I can guarantee you that. But when he came over to America, he ended up type 2. And my memory of him was he was in a wheelchair crying all the time because he was blind. That was my grandpa Fergali, right? So blindness. Did you know onset blindness from type 2? Did you know amputation? Did you know that? Lower limb amputation? My dad was close to that when he died at 63. Heart disease, stroke, kidney failure. He was on dialysis for 2 years. Go back, row back to the point of the insulin resistance starting. And you don't even know you're insulin resistant. All you have is maybe a little bit of belly fat. But nobody has pulled a fasting insulin on you yet, maybe, because it's a hormone. So all they're doing is they're waiting. They're waiting till your sugar rises in your blood. They're just waiting. Now, I don't mean that they're being maniacal. I'm just meaning like that's the protocol. The protocol is not yet. No, not yet. Your sugars are still looking good. Your A1C looks good. Oh, there it is. Bingo. It finally rose because you can be insulin resistant for years and years and years and years before it shows up in your blood glucose. So that's why I talk about weight loss, because I know that if I can talk to you about insulin resistance being the reason why you can't lose weight, you will listen on the front end of this. Okay. So you slide into your 40s, you're insulin resistant, just like me. This is me. You don't know you're insulin resistant, like it's not even on your radar. Nobody like insulin, what? That was me. But yet You can't budge a pound. You're so frustrated. Everything that used to work doesn't work anymore. You're like, what is going on? Dang it. Do I just have to resign myself to bad metabolism now? I'm just getting old. Is this what this is? What if it's because you have high insulin and maybe you don't even have the high sugars yet. You just have high insulin. But see, when you have high insulin and or sugars, you can't lose weight. Like your body won't lose weight. You can't start to burn fat because you've got too much sugar going on. Your insulin is just taking care of it and it's not showing up on a test yet. But in the meantime, you're still not going to be able to burn fat because your insulin now is super high and it's gobbling up all the sugar, trying to get it into the cell. And the cell is saying no more. And now you can't even get fuel into your cell and you are exhausted. You eat and you are hungry in an hour because it burned up like pine in your outdoor wood stove. We had one on 20 acres. And your body just burns it up fast. Burns it up. And you never get to the slow burn of the fat. But in the meantime, you're gaining weight. You're so frustrated with your size. You're just like, God, I have to go shopping for another size. I can't keep doing this. Do I just like kind of lay down and go, well, I am in my 50s now. You know what I mean? And nobody is going to talk to you at your provider. If they do, please let me know. I don't have to be right. I'm not looking to be right. I just haven't had anybody reach out to me and say, my provider actually told me that I was insulin resistant. And if I would stop spiking my blood sugars, I could actually lose weight. They actually told me that if I fill in nutritional deficiencies, I could actually change the way my body functions and I could finally lose weight. Nobody ever emails me that. Nobody ever tells me that in my inbox. That's not what I hear. Instead, what I hear is I'm on my 3rd endocrinologist. I'm on my 5th endocrinologist because they keep giving me bad advice. I'm just saying. So that's number one, is that I remember my grandpa being blind in a wheelchair and just crying. He was not, he did not take it well, put it that way. That was really, really hard on him. And the second thing that I wanted to pull out of this was, when they're talking about the cost. 2017, that's not that long ago, right? 7 years ago, $327 billion, including $237 billion in direct medical costs and $90 billion in reduced productivity. So think about this. When you are exhausted and you have brain fog, so you're not thinking clearly, you don't really want to, you have a very low functioning life. And I talk about that a lot with my dad. Dr. Kiltz, Kilz, Roxy. She asked about the doctor for fertility. Kilz. Going on a low-fat diet in the 90s, ate everything fat-free. Candy was fat-free. Yes. Millie, you're absolutely correct. You're telling my story for decades of insulin resistance. Yep. You're welcome, Roxy. So this low productivity thought process. So it's not that you live, or it's not that you die sometimes. It's that you live with not a great life. And everybody has to define that for themselves. But what I watched my dad do was I watched him live with surgeries and recovery and sickness and exhaustion, sores all over his legs. His eyesight was going. And in the end, he was on dialysis. And what that meant for him was he would go to dialysis on Monday, and Monday night he would puke. Tuesday, he would feel okay. Wednesday, he would go to dialysis, and Wednesday night he would puke. Thursday, he would go to dialysis, or he would feel better. And then Friday, he would go to dialysis, and Friday night he would puke. And after 2 years of that, 36 hours before he died, he was throwing up in the toilet. We were at their house because we're adults. My kids were 6, 3, and 6 months. And I had come back from the Black Hills of South Dakota for visiting, right? It's summertime. It was July. He died in July of 1995 and on the 14th. And he was throwing up in the toilet on Wednesday night. And my sister was there, and she said he looked up from the toilet and he said, This is no way to live. So the money that's costing from reduced productivity, I understand they're probably talking about that in terms of maybe, I don't know, productivity in the workplace, or productivity, because maybe people are on disability, or who knows exactly where they're getting that number from. But it's very true. And it does cost you a lot to have very low productivity, because now you're trying to buy over the counter things, or you're trying to fix the fact that you don't have energy. You're trying to fix the fact that you feel like crap. You're trying to fix things, right? And 36 hours later, he went in for a dialysis appointment, and he went to the cafeteria to have lunch, and he just died. He was done. He said it 36 hours earlier, this is no way to live, and he was done. So you checked your labs back in 2013, and your A1C was averaging 6.3 to 6.6 until 2021. You had one bad A1C and officially diagnosed as type 2 within 90 days. You went back to and currently at 6.6. At no point was I told to have a fasting insulin test. Y'all, you got to hear this stuff. I didn't even know I was having A1C tests until 2021. I just heard about social media insulin resistance. What the heck? I'm just going to put that up there. I use the word criminal because it's criminal. I mean, I'm really intentional with that word. I understand we have to take personal responsibility to figure things out, blah, blah, blah. We got to do our own research. But when they don't even tell you anything. So your blood sugars, yes. What about Hashimoto's and PCOS? Yes, Roxy. Hold on. It's all connected, obviously. So you can turn things around, and you can put things into remission. And it is criminal. So Dr. Kiltz would talk a lot about, I mean, obviously, like, because you just asked about that, but the whole infertility conversation. So insulin resistance and PCOS, right? There's a connection there for sure. Hashimoto's, the people that get the most results that I have just researched and seen, they go carnivore. And they can lay it down. They can tell it to sit down and shut up a little bit. Excuse me. Because you have to have that level of anti-inflammation, that level of inflammation going down in your body in order to get it to sit down and shut up a little bit. And so even I know, like Maria Emmerich, I really appreciate her information. I talk about it a lot. Her husband has Lyme disease, and that's very common up here. They're from Wisconsin. I'm from Minnesota. Very common up here. And the only way that he's been able to get his Lyme under control was to go carnivore. And he went, like, literally, he couldn't even do onion powder or garlic powder because those were inflaming him too much. So everybody's at a different whatever. But that's why I bring up Dr. Kiltz, because I feel like that's very fascinating information. I mean, if you are a fertility doctor, if you are a specialist using carnivore and you're getting results, that has a lot of credibility. But anyway, excuse me. You eliminate carbs. You eat once a day, at least 4 to 6 eggs a day. Eat an avocado each day. Drink water, Celtic sea salt. Exercise to maintain muscle. And pool 3 times a week. You came off meds. Good job. High five. High five. Yes, 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 yes. I love that. Okay, so what else am I missing? I know that I miss comments, and it bothers me because I wish I could see all my comments, but I just know things get weird on StreamYard. Your ice baths knock down your inflammation along with many other great benefits. That's very, very cool. I have heard about those. I don't know if I'm in yet. I haven't decided on my level of commitment to doing that yet, but I do know, like, I really do. I do. And I also talked to my husband. My husband is doing he'll do some red light therapy beds, like at our chiropractor, and that really helps with inflammation. I know that saunas are really, really good. Dry saunas, if I'm not mistaken. I'd have to research that. But there are therapies. See, this is the point, you guys. I understand insurance doesn't cover anything I'm talking about. I get it. Why do you think that is? Do you think your insurance is all of a sudden going to cover saunas and buying yourself like an ice tank or whatever, or red light therapy? No, they're so not interested. That does not keep you a customer forever. So we have to pay for this for ourselves. But what does it matter to you? What matters to you the most? Because if you want to function and you want to feel good, my whole thing with women is, listen, if I can talk to you about taking back your bodies, functioning at a higher level so that you can actually create better memories, dang. So I'm 59, no meds, no type 2 in sight, never will. Just telling you, I have quality of life. It's because I've got these little grandbabies. They're so cute, you guys. James Giovanni, he's 3 years old. Levi William, he's 2, almost 2. And little Ethan Carey, he's 3, almost 4 months old. This is why I eat like I eat. This is why I keep on supplementing. People are like, do you still take the trio? Yes. Yes, I do. I want to be on the floor with my babies. I want to have energy. My mom spent her grandma years having hip surgeries and knee surgeries from all of the inflammation that was building up to her being diagnosed with type 2 and then type 3 dementia. I say no. I reject their track. They give you a track of a food pyramid with a meal plan. That's really bad advice. And they follow up with scripts. That's their track. You can take it. You might be on it. I offer a completely opposite track. So the track that I've been offering women now for over a year, officially, unofficially, because it doesn't matter. I started local and stuff, officially online. My track is this. I have 3 supplements that have 3 ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity. They are the very base foundation of what I talk about. It's where a lot of the testimonies come from. Jump over to Instagram, take 5 minutes out of your day today. Take 5 minutes, jump over to my Instagram, Kirsten Liebelt. At the top, there's a pink highlight bubble. Go and look at the testimonies of the trio. 3 supplements that have 3 ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity. You're filling in nutritional deficiencies. It's why the results come. Lowering HBP, losing weight, food noise quieting down, sugar cravings going down, weight loss, like 7 pounds and 10 pounds and 25 pounds and like all of that stuff, because finally your body can bring down your sugars and your insulin and you can lose weight, because if they're high, you can't. Okay. Then I teach food ingredient trade outs, because as an Italian female, I thought that it was mountainous, so mountainous that I literally had the thought in my brain, like, I will never be able to Suzette, good morning. I will never be able to give up my foods. I will not, like, come on. Weddings and funerals. This is the Italian way. Mangia, you eat, show respect, right? So I honestly thought I couldn't do it. That's why I started with supplements. I literally was the person. Well, there must be a pill that fixes something. Ha, 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 ha. Path of least resistance. I'm not going to do anything hard. I'm only going to do something easy. That was my thought process. Totally addicted to sugar. Never took supplements before this. All of it. Finally decided to trade out my ingredients, and I have used a lot of people like Maria Emmerich. She's one of them. I love her ingredient trade out tips and tricks. I'm not a creator of recipes. I just teach them. So I have a Facebook group called Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. So we have targeted supplementation, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women, and here's your track. Month after month, I'm going to do a 5-day challenge at the beginning of the month so that you can nail the month. And then the next month, I'm going to show up again. I'm going to do another 5-day challenge so you can take on that month. And then by the end of 2024, you're in a completely different place. And I always tell people, listen, You start on the targeted supplementation. I'll do the rest with teaching the ingredient trade outs. You have 6-month guarantee on all your products. What do you have to lose? Is it less expensive than in injection once a month? Like a lot. I can't believe what people are paying for that. I'm just saying, like, I'm going to give you a completely different track to run on than they gave you. The track that they gave my dad, he was dead at 63. The track that they're giving people, let's see, what are their results? My results are weight loss, lower people getting off of meds, heart disease, stroke, kidney failure, lower limb amputation, and adult onset blindness. I'm just saying. Hold on, I'm missing stuff. Oh, from the UK, Sarah. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you, Sarah. Okay. You literally have no metabolic flexibility. I hear you. You can change that though. It does change over time. It does. You can turn things back. So the whole process in general, when you think about it, is so because we're just deficient in some really super basic things like trace minerals and things like that, and we need to get our liver to function at a higher level because our liver literally metabolizes our fat. It governs our hormones. It governs the glucose in our blood. Like, our liver is really important. The trio also helps with visceral belly fat, metabolism, all that stuff. So when you start to get your engines running again, you can begin to bring down your sugars and your insulin. Therefore, you're bringing down your inflammation and you're moving from resistance to sensitivity. Does it take time? Sure. And can I give like dates for everybody? No. I have a lot of great testimonies where people are like, they're losing weight fast, right? And of course, those are great testimonies, and they're worthy of sharing, because everybody wants something fast, but that's not really the point. I mean, it kind of is and it kind of isn't, because some people they're further down the road and their healing journey is going to take a little longer. And I respect that and I understand that. Even Dr. Eric Berg would say that your morning sugars can take up to a year. Your HBP can take up to a year. Like, you have to be prepared to have a thought process that you are working from resistance to sensitive so that you can have that metabolic flexibility. Because that flexibility does come. It does. It took me, it took me about 3 to 4 years of changing out my ingredients with grace for myself to do it in order to stop spiking my sugars all the time, right? And then I really started going towards more flexibility. So everybody's different, but there's no shame in your journey. You have to be able to take your journey and give yourself permission to take it. Cheryl, that's amazing. As of yesterday, she's off of all Crohn's disease meds, only on D2, one small pill per meal for TD2. You asked your endo doc this past Monday about D3, K2. He told me D3, K2 are basically the same and didn't address K2. So frustrated. I know. I'm sorry, Cheryl. That's just because they're not educated in that. They're just not. So Sarah says that she fasts for 36 hours and she'll lose a few pounds and then put it back on as soon as she eats. Yep. Which is a healthy meal. You've tried everything else and you just put back on. I know. That's because there are so many things that we're being told. You don't care if it takes time. You just want to know you're moving in the right direction. Well, KK, like, seriously, I'll put you on a completely different track. And the best thing that I can tell people, Kristen says that they told me it would be $1,000 for an M injection, MOU, that brand. Wow. I'm telling you, you guys, this is criminal. Don't you see what they're doing? They're putting you on a track that's going to make it worse. And then they're cashing in on the end. And the side effects are not happy. It just torques me off. It really, really does. It really does. Yeah, Kristen. Oh, you guys, that's just terrible. So Kristen, you're so sweet. She says she's happy she found me. I am too, Kristen. You're just such a light. And I really do want to get on the phone with you. So let's get that set up when you have time, when it's most convenient. So KK, if you want a different track to run on, that's literally what I come on and I talk about every single day. Targeted supplementation, start with the trio. Some people want to add in turmeric for their inflammation. Some people want to add in ashwagandha for their cortisol. And some people want to do like carb blocker, because that was what I did. I used carb blocker for like 3 years to stop the sugar spike when I was eating carbs, because I gave myself time to switch things out. I'm not saying that that's advice. I'm just saying that that's what I did. So I understand it. And so when I talk about the mental piece that goes with this, like in the Facebook group, that's just, it's my authentic story in that. Suzette, I think we're all happy we found you. I'm so happy too, you guys. Seriously, like last night at the product expo, when I get to share your stories, even just a little bit, thank you so much for sharing your data with me. Thank you for sharing your blood results with me, that your morning sugars went down 30 points and you've got the data for it, or that your fasting insulin test went from a 24 down to the 8s, or that your scale is starting to move like 20 pounds, 25 pounds. Maybe it's only 5 pounds, but it's all in a month. Maybe it's, you know what I'm saying? Like, thank you for sharing all of that. So you guys think that I'm blessing you, you're blessing me, because this has been inside of me for a long time, wondering why did, this is a long time ago now that it started, but why did those scripts never help my dad? And why is it just a given that everybody in my Italian family is going to be obese and have type 2? Why is this the narrative? Why do we keep increasing the percentage? We've gone from 1% of Americans in the 1960s to 11% right now that are type 2. And they think that 1 in 3 by 2050. Are you freaking kidding me? And we're going to argue whether or not they've got the right track to run on? That's BS, you guys. So let's do something completely different. Let's do it different. Let's do targeted supplementation. It's like putting power steering fluid into your power steering container in your car. And when your power steering fluid goes out and all of a sudden it's like, and you can't quite steer your car. Come on. Everybody's had that, right? And you put the power steering fluid in and all of a sudden you can steer, like, oh, okay, I can go around the parking lot. I can get this working. That's what I would attribute the trio to. Like, you're literally, this is why I still take it, because this isn't a gimmick. There's no gimmick here. There's no magic. It's called, your liver is tired and toxic. Let's fix that, because otherwise you're not metabolizing fat and you are really frustrated that you can't lose fat. Okay, let's deal with the fat around your internal organs, that visceral belly fat underneath the fat you can squeeze. And your metabolism, yep, you're not very metabolically flexible, right, KK? That's what you're saying. Let's help you get that working. But then, more than anything, let's get your sugars and your insulin to deflate. Because when you can, that's why people are like, oh my gosh, I only started this 3 weeks ago and I've lost 7 pounds. It's not water weight. They're losing, okay, I shouldn't say that. It's certainly not muscle mass. But the reason why is because all of a sudden you bring down your sugars and your insulin and your body can release weight. It's like you're stuck up here on a hamster wheel with high sugars and insulin, but nobody's telling you this. Nobody's telling, not nobody other than me. I don't mean that. In the matrix, they're not telling you insulin is a hormone. This is connected to all of your hormones. When your insulin is high, it's affecting all of your other hormones. Girls, this is a hormonal conversation. Obesity is a hormonal conversation. It is not calorie in, calorie out. It is not count your points. It is not you only need more fiber. It is not take an injection and potentially lose muscle mass. No, this is something that it's not terminal. You can get your engine going again. You can get your power steering moving again. Some people it takes longer than others. I get it. A lot of factors going on. A lot of factors. Some people have had many surgeries and they have a lot of anesthesia that they need to clear. Some people are on a lot of prescriptions. Some people are on, everybody's different. Some people are not willing to change their food at all yet. That's where I was. That's where I was when I started. And I did not expect perfection from myself because I was finally willing to actually do something about it, because I was finally in my 50s. I was just shy of my 51st birthday when I started to trade out my ingredients. Finally, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired of my size. I was a 2X. And I'm like, screw this. I'm finally going to do this. I'm going to figure this out. I got mad enough, and in post cycle stopping, my cycle had stopped about 9 months earlier because I had surgery and it kicked me into menopause. And I finally made the decision, that's it. I'm going to figure this out. I didn't have any live video. I did this all just on my own journey, but I feel like that gave me a lot of insight into my mental journey and into my physical journey, that now I get to share that and teach that. And I've gone from a 2X down to a large in my 50s, post cycle stopping. And yes, I still take the trio. And yes, I do take other supplements. Yes, I do layer, but not everybody has to start where I start. I have a list. I can give you if you want the list, I'll give you the whole cart. I'll send you the cart in your message. TikTok, you'd have to go over to IG. Facebook, I can do it in your there. Hi, Carla. Good to see you. Sarah, it's the chemicals they spray the food with, in your opinion. The meds we yeah, I know. So many chemicals. It's a big conversation. It is. So anyway, I have a list. I have a cart that has my list in it. I'll send you my cart if you want that. Or if you want something customized, I'll do that. Some people are like, I just want to know about the trio and that turmeric. Send me a cart that's customized for me. I'll do that. Maybe you want the trio and the carb blocker. That's fine. But that's why I come on and I can talk about things that are very specific, because that to me is the only way to help you get on a track that's completely different than the one they offered you. Theirs is a food pyramid that is a lie, given to you by the Department of Agriculture, with a meal plan that matches that tells you you can have carbs coming out of your ears all day long, up to 150 a day, followed with scripts to fix what you're getting into the pickle with right here. Mine is targeted supplementation, the trio. Add whatever else you feel like you need. You can just ask me and I'll help you navigate that. Different people need different things. I was texting with somebody this morning that needs help with hot flashes. So I have a product for that can help her. Mixed with, let's fix your food. Let's get your food ingredient trade outs. And I teach that in the Facebook group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. And every single month, I'm going to give you a 5-day challenge where we're going to talk about ingredient trade outs. Today, I'm taking people into my pantry and my fridge, 2:00 Central Standard Time. And then we're going to make a recipe this week or whatever. So we've got recipes in there that you can. Oh, my cat's crying. That's so funny. I thought, oh no, she's in the closet. She's not in the closet. Okay. And I'll take you into my pantry and my fridge, and we'll do a recipe and all that good stuff. And then you can wrap up the month of July. Just take on 1 month at a time, you guys. 1 month. And then guess what we're going to do at the beginning of August? We're going to do it again. We're going to have another challenge so that you can get equipped. I have 2 people in there right now. They've done 7 in a row. Because repetition is the mother of all skills. Repetition, 1 nugget at a time. Don't stress yourself out. Don't be hard on yourself thinking that you've got to figure it all out right now. It's just 1 ingredient at a time, 1 recipe at a time. Stop shaming yourself and putting yourself down and telling yourself that you're a loser and that you don't have any willpower and that you're never going to get this figured out. That's not true. And if you can't seem to stop the negative thinking, get the book, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. Go get that book off of Amazon. It's by Shad Helmstetter, and change the way you're talking to yourself. Okay? You can have a completely different track than everybody else. I'm just saying. Cleaned up your diet and lost 40 pounds, still dealing with hair loss and acne. Yeah. And that is really, first of all, fantastic. Way to go. You lost 40 pounds. That is huge. That's wonderful. And the whole hair loss thing, yeah. It's just, in my opinion, it's hormonal, right? And so it's still that process of, even if you get on an injection, and you lose a lot of weight. Some of that weight could be impacted waste. It could be water. It could be muscle, which you don't want to lose. It could be a lot of things. You can lose weight and still never fix your hormones. That's a hard pill to swallow. But if you can fix your insulin hormone, it's going to positively affect the rest of your hormones, and we can take it from there. That's why some people want the trio with the ashwagandha thrown in or added, because that'll help with cortisol. So this is a hormonal conversation, girls. Hormones, not a calorie in, calorie out, not intermittent fasting only. Not you can eat practically nothing and lose weight and lose it the wrong way in terms of your body not getting any stronger. I am going to teach high protein, high protein. Do you know how much more nutritionally dense beef is than kale? But what have we been marketed? We've been told that kale is a superfood. No, it's not. Hate to burst your bubble. It's not, but you've been told that it is. Just look it up. It's not a matter of like opinion. Look up the dense nutrition of beef. Your hormones go, oh, thank you. All of the aminos that are in beef match almost identically the amino profile in your muscle. But yet think about the marketing that we're being told. If they're telling us one thing, isn't it time that we just assume it's wrong? I'm sorry, and we should believe the opposite? We should, I'm just saying, if we're getting all of our information off of the Today Show and Good Morning America and whatever, it's all food propaganda that actually feeds PHA. That word. Protein is key. You got to do protein. Author's name again. Hold on, Cheryl. You'll be there. The challenges are good. Cheryl, you want the trio cart? Yeah, I'll get that for you for sure. Thanks for saying that in Facebook, because I can answer you guys. After I'm done live on TikTok and on Instagram, your messages go away. So that's why you have to get into my inbox. Hold on. The author's name. Who was I talking about? Oh, Shad, Shad Helmstetter. It's an old book. What to Say When You Talk to Yourself, I think is what it's called. Yeah, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. You've used repetition in your job with developmental preschoolers and saw lots of success. Now applying it to your new path. Yes, exactly. Still tweaking what you eat and talking to yourself every morning in the mirror. That is amazing, Carla. Good job. And when I say protein is key, I'm talking about like, let's really aim for about 150 grams a day. And I know that sounds like a lot, but like a chicken breast has 40. Get it up. Each egg has about 6. When I make my egg white bread and I slice it, I assume that's about 6. A good chicken sausage, not a breakfast sausage, but a chicken sausage. Like I buy the Italian sausage from Aldi's. It's called Never Any. That's their brand on that one. You can go to Costco and there's a Kirkland brand, Parmesan and black pepper, but their chicken sausage is like you would grill like as a hot dog, so to speak. 14 grams in one of those, right? Beef is really high, eggs, chicken, because these are all things you have to understand what I'm saying. Those are all protein sources that will not spike your sugars. I know you can get protein from grain, but it's going to spike your sugars. And then you're going to wonder why you're still on your hamster wheel. So I teach completely grain-free, sugar-free, because I feel amazing. Like I don't ache. My body's not fighting the inflammation of the grains in my body. I don't ache, you guys. I can't explain that. I need an analogy for that. It's like the Tin Man. Getting your joints oiled. I am 100% convinced that because of the high inflammation in my mother's body, her arthritis that gave her, it wasn't genetic. Her mother was playing Scrabble without one surgery at 97. Where was my mother's genetic arthritis? Where? Show me. Draw out her family tree and you show me who had arthritis and where her genetic arthritis came from, so that she had to have both hips replaced and a knee replaced. And by the time she was done, she had 5 hip replacement surgeries because she started in her 50s and she lived to 94. One of them broke, one of them wore out. She had to have all these surgeries. All that anesthesia, all of those years, do you think that was helpful for her precursor to dementia or not helpful for her precursor to dementia? I watched it happen. Her last surgery was a knee surgery, a full knee replacement, I think. I don't know if it was partial or full, but it doesn't matter. And after that, her cognitive, like literally it tipped her scales. And I watched it happen and I went, oh, wow. And I couldn't put my finger on it, but I watched it. And then when we realized she had dementia, I was like, okay, like that wasn't a good addition to her body. Her body couldn't do it. So you know what? At some point, guess what? They don't do surgery anymore. They don't fix you anymore because your body can't handle a major surgery. So I'm just telling you, like, I'm convinced that all of her inflammation from her insulin resistance that she didn't know she had because nobody told her, nobody was doing a fasting insulin on my mother. She didn't even know. And I'm convinced that that was the precursor for all of her hip replacements and her knee replacement, her arthritis. Just telling you my own thoughts and my own feelings. I'm not a doctor. I'm just really opinionated. And I wore red this morning for a reason because I was really fired up. Traditional medicine has done nothing for you, so you're trying to figure everything out. Yep. Midwest is best. I'm in Minnesota. Where are you from? That is awesome. That is awesome. So you're 76 and you finally got your engine going. Good. Movie mama. Isn't that amazing? I'm so glad. I'm so glad. KK, if you want the list, you have to like jump over to IG and you have to get into my inbox because I can't send anything to you here, or you can go to, if you go up here to my profile and my face will show up, there's actually a number on my page, on my TikTok page. And you can message me this way and you can say, I was on your live and you said you would send me the list and I'll send you a cart, and you don't even have to get everything out of there, right? You don't have to put all of that in your cart. I'll just show it to you what it is. And then you can choose, like maybe you only want the trio and something else. I do pork. I do. I know that some people don't. I feel like that's a very minor conversation. A lot of, some people are like, they don't want to do pork at all. That's fine. I do pork. KK. That's really cute. What's really funny is that, so I'm Kirsten and my husband is Carrie with a K. My daughter is Kayla and her husband is Keegan. And so like before she married Keegan, I was like, oh, we're K squared. Ha ha ha. KK. And then she gets married. Now they're K squared. So anyway, so that's really funny. You crack me up. KK, she says. I like that. LOL. Yeah. Movie mama, rev it up. Carla says, rev it up, movie mama. Good for you. She's very excited for you. This is what I really love, you guys. Your encouragement to each other. I really feel like this is the best challenge we've ever done. This is the 14th one. I love getting your guys' testimonies and your guys' revelations of trading out food ingredients and going, oh my gosh, not only can I do it, but I actually love what I just made. Like somebody had recently posted that they made the keto lasagna and they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't believe it. I didn't believe it. And then of course you make it and then you're amazed. And it just, honestly, you guys, it just makes my heart happy because you're becoming your own advocate is my goal. So if my goal is being fulfilled, then why wouldn't I be happy, right? Just makes me, yeah. So it's so good. Cheryl says the support group feeds a need you didn't know you had. Oh my gosh, Cheryl. Feeds the soul. You appreciate me in the group. I'm so glad, Cheryl. I am so, so glad. It just, you know what? We can go further together. We can go further, and we can actually, because sometimes you think you're crazy. And this is a reason why it's probably really helpful, because we think in our head, we doubt ourselves. Well, maybe I've thought that too. Like, I thought that maybe that was criminal too, that they gave us that information, or that they didn't tell me. I thought maybe it was just me. And you realize it's like everybody. Like, I'm telling you, if somebody can actually message me and say to me that you have had an endo, or somebody tell you, listen, you could actually use supplementation to bring down your insulin and your sugars. So why don't we use some supplementation? And then if you trade out your ingredients, you can actually avoid meds and never have them. If it happens, I think that's great. I just don't think so. Truly, Cheryl, you're so sweet. I don't know if I take yours will stay because you're on Facebook. So I don't even have to worry about a screenshot. Yours will stay. Okay. So I actually have not eaten yet today, and I'm going to go eat. And then I'm going to do a 2:00 pantry fridge reveal in the group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. If you want information on the trio, if all you want are testimonies right now because you're still a little like you don't know about this information, go over to IG. There's a pink highlight bubble at the top and start just going through the stories. Go and see what other people are saying. Don't take my word for it, okay? You guys are the ones giving me the data. This isn't me. My story is that I avoided type 2 by doing this. I'm the only one in my family that did. I'm the only one. But if you want information, like right away, you're like, I need a cart. I need to see what you're talking about. Get into my inbox. You can always say something on Facebook and I'll get back to you. On Instagram, you can get into my inbox. And on TikTok, you got to jump over and get into my inbox because I can't send you anything here. It's just the way that life is over there. But just say, you know what, I was on your live and I'd like to see a cart. I want to see the trio and the ashwagandha. I know my cortisol is off the charts. I need to see the trio, and maybe it's like what were you recommending for inflammation? And I can tell you about the turmeric. But give me a chance to like specify something for you so that you can get a track to run on, and then get in the group. Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. Get in the group. Don't self-sabotage yourself anymore. And we did Monday, we did Tuesday, today is Wednesday, and then we have 2 more days this week. 2 more days. Okay. And I'm telling you, you can be in a completely different place by the end of this year. Probably sooner, but let's just like really expand it out. 6-month guarantee on the products. You can go 5 months and still have a month left on your product of guarantee. Nobody else is doing that, you guys. And it's not because it's magic or because whatever. It's literally because not all supplements are created equal. They're just not. So when there's efficacy and when there's potency and when there's purity, it changes the game. And I think you'll be really surprised at the price points. Be really surprised. I'm not lying. So thank you for the follow. All right. So Dr. Berg says that when you are doing keto, your liver releases more insulin. So don't get discouraged if your blood sugars go up when you are doing high protein and your A1C goes up. It's interesting because there is somebody who type 2, found out she was type 2. This is about 4 years ago now, I think. Finds out because her A1C is 13 and she has a stroke. That's not good. Works with her doctor, gets on meds, goes down from a 13 down to, I think it was 6.9. And she's on Met. She was on, I can't remember another script, I don't remember, but I do know that she started doing berberine and inositol. Could not budge 1 pound. Not 1 pound. So last September, she starts the trio. The first 2 weeks, and I remember getting on a Zoom with her and asking her this question, because the first 2 weeks that she was on the trio, her morning sugars went up. I said, why did you continue? She said, I had a feeling. I just had a feeling. And I'm like, that is so interesting. This is why I thank you guys for your data. So after 2.5 months, her morning sugars went from the 180s down to the 150s. And she lost 14 pounds after 3 years of not being able to budge 1 pound. It's called filling in nutritional gaps. filling in nutritional deficiencies you didn't even understand you had. Isn't that amazing? So thank you for saying that, Carla, because it's super interesting. Like, your body can be weird, right? Because it's trying to heal. Your body was designed to heal itself, but we have to help it because we kind of did a little number on it. So we have to fix certain things that got us into this to begin with. But I'm telling you, the results, you guys, you can have a higher functioning life and you can get down on the floor with your grandbabies, just like I can. You can wake up and not ache also, because when you turn back your insulin resistance, your aching starts to go away. Your brain fog starts to clear. Your energy starts to increase. Your weight begins to decrease. Your inflammation in your joints just feels so much better. There's so many good things that happen when you turn this around. Time is going to pass anyway. You are going to blink and it's going to be Christmas anyway. Literally at the end of next month, there will be Christmas trees well, we have Menards up in the north, Home Depot. Guaranteed. Time is going to pass anyway. So you can take the rest of your summer, get on a track to run on and be in a completely different place and be happy. Does that make sense? So always reach out to me. My contact information is readily available so that you can say to me, hey, you said this on your live. I need to know more. And then we can chat. You'll say it again. Oh, Carla, I love you. Thank you so much. She goes, you're my hero. I'll say it again. I just want people to get this information. Get the information. Don't take my word for it. Go read the testimonies of all the other people. These are ones that come to me. Okay. Like these are actually my friends, meaning my new friends, because we didn't know each other before. Every single one of you started as a stranger on the internet. Every single one of you that gives me a testimony, you are all strangers giving me your testimonies now. OMG, you're not going to believe this. OMG, you're not going to believe this. Just telling you. So have hope, be encouraged. If you're in the group, I can't wait to see you at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, pantry and refrigerator day. And I apologize in advance for being boring. I don't know what to tell you. I don't have a lot of good stuff, but we'll work on it. All right. See you guys later. Have a super good day. Super, super good day. All right. I have to shut everybody down one at a time. There we go. Okay, Facebook, you can leave messages and I will get back to you. Thank you for your patience. I know I've been busy this week because of the challenge and everything. But thank you so much for your patience as I get back to you, because I know you guys leave me messages and I was like, I had an expo last night and 11 o'clock at night. I'm like, I got to answer these people who need information on the trio, blah, blah, blah. So I'll get it to you. I promise. All right. See you later.